Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something that, well, a lot of us actually wear like a badge of honor, and that is perfectionism. We live in a world that is constantly pushing us to be flawless, right? To never, ever make a single mistake, and to just always have it perfectly together. But what if that relentless drive is actually doing way more harm than good? Let's explore how breaking free from perfectionism is literally the real secret to thriving, both in our personal lives and at work.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Think about it for a second. What if the very thing you are the most proud of is actually the exact thing holding you back? Now, I know, for high achievers, this immediately sets off alarm bells. It totally challenges our defense mechanisms. We tend to think of our unforgiving, relentless drive as our superpower. It's the engine, right? It's the engine that got us the good grades, the promotions, all those amazing accolades. But what if this exact trait, the one you guard so fiercely, is actually a heavy anchor? An anchor that's preventing you from reaching true fulfillment and, well, real authentic connection.
The thing you have to understand is that perfectionism has incredibly good marketing. Seriously, on the surface, it dresses up in this fancy corporate attire. It presents itself as pure ambition, discipline, and having exceptionally high standards. I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic on a resume. But if we look beneath the surface, it's rarely about actual excellence. More often than not, it's really just a shadow game. A game driven entirely by the paralyzing dread of judgment and failure. It isn't a push toward greatness. Actually, it's a desperate sprint away from inadequacy.
And this brings us to something I call the silent equation. Early on in life, so many of us internalize this really damaging math. It goes like this. If I perform well, I matter. If I succeed, I belong. And if I am absolutely flawless, then I am worthy of love. We start dangerously tying our fundamental human worth to our unblemished performance. It's like we're constantly chasing the shiny gold star that keeps magically floating just a few inches out of reach. Deep down, we secretly hope that if we're just perfect enough, it will finally protect us from ever getting hurt.
So how does this happen? Well, it builds up, step by agonizing step. Picture a 7-year-old child. If they are praised exclusively for perfect report cards, they learn pretty quickly that conditional approval is just the norm and that love has to be fiercely earned. Fast forward to age 15, and love feels like something secured only through trophies. Meanwhile, any small mistake is met with harsh criticism, which teaches us that errors are literally dangerous. By the time we hit 25 or older, we've grown into adults wearing this massive, clunky suit of armor that's forged entirely out of our past achievements and the incredibly heavy expectations of everyone around us.
Over time, these coping mechanisms completely solidify into that heavy armor. We logically tell ourselves, hey, if we just execute perfectly, we can completely avoid the pain of blame and judgment. But here is the real catch. Armor doesn't just block pain, it blocks connection. Think about it. When you're fully suited up in 50 pounds of metal, nobody can actually get in. In our desperate attempt to protect ourselves, we make it so nobody gets to see the real, messy, wonderfully human person underneath it all.
And the tough part is, this internal struggle, it rarely stays private. There is a very real, very toxic ripple effect. When we are endlessly harsh with ourselves, fear quietly sneaks right into the driver's seat. You'll see this manifest as a stressed parent projecting unyielding expectations onto their kids, or maybe a perfectionist boss who breeds a nervous teen that's just terrified of making a single typo on an internal memo. You know exactly the kind of environment I'm talking about, the kind where you spend 3 hours formatting a minor spreadsheet just so nobody yells at you. The blast radius of our untreated perfectionism absolutely impacts everyone we care about.
So, if perfectionism is this massive trap, what exactly is the alternative? Well, I can tell you, it definitely isn't laziness. It's not about dramatically lowering your standards or just giving up on your goals. No way. The true opposite of perfect is self-acceptance. It's the practice of healthy striving. You can absolutely still aim for the mountaintop, but with self-acceptance, the whole mindset changes. Failure simply becomes information, rather than a crushing blow to your identity. A sudden setback on the trail becomes a highly valuable lesson, not some devastating final verdict on your worth as a human being.
All right, so here's how we actually begin the hard work of breaking free and dismantling that heavy armor. Step 1, you have to separate your worth from your work. Your intrinsic value literally has nothing to do with your performance on a Tuesday afternoon project. Step 2, start treating mistakes as neutral data, not as fatal flaws in your character. Step 3, practice the concept of good enough, because honestly, steady progress always beats paralyzing perfection. And finally, step 4, speak to yourself with compassion. Imagine the warm, encouraging voice you would use with your absolute best friend, and just start applying it internally.
I want you to really consider this. Perfect was never the destination, it was the cage. The absolute bravest thing you may ever do in your entire life is make the choice to stop trying to be flawless and start allowing yourself to be human. Drop that heavy armor that's been weighing you down for years and step out into the open. Because the truth is, who you are right now, flaws and the whole shebang, is already more than enough. So, my final question to you is this. What is one piece of armor you are willing to take off today? Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and keep on learning.